Hey, what's up, everybody? Now, during this quarantine and lockdown season that we're in right now, you always think that men's hair is gonna be long, men are gonna look a lot more like a yeti. But we have a very good-looking guy here today, looking extremely ready. Mr. Steve Wee, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me today. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited because I also heard your name quite a bit, but it's just that I think it's the first time we ever meet. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's really what we're gonna do with this podcast session is we want to try to give as much value as possible. And obviously, you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of skill set, and you know a lot about how you can help, especially business owners. Because I want to do this podcast. I want to help more business owners. Let's do that because I believe that by helping more business owners, we can save more people because they are the one that employ more people. And as we're recording this, we're in a season right now where businesses are struggling. They are in lockdown. They cannot open. Many unpaid leaves. Many people are laid off. And I literally just read a couple hours ago, one of the biggest publishing house in Malaysia. What they do, they publish a lot of big magazines and gossip magazines. They had to lay off 200 employees. They had to shut down the publishing house, the printing and everything. And I know you work with a lot of corporate clients. I know you work with a lot of small business owners as well. What's your thought on the current situation right now? And do you have any tips or maybe strategies that they can use to, go through this entire storm without laying off people or without, doing things that are going to have a negative impact?
Now, in fact, I think this question is very, very valid because it's very hard to say which area of the economy is going to be affected because every industry is so different, right? As much as we say that we need to go online, but certain industry are not eligible to go online because of the nature of the business. So here itself, I think that the government supports come in handy, while a lot of banks also come in handy for 0% of installment for most companies to hold on at least until this year to survive. Because the whole idea of the after effect is as long as you can survive 2020, you'll be good enough because that is where the fittest of the survival of the fittest will be there. For those industry that can go online, I think definitely I think it's very good to start embracing it because it's either you do it now or you do it later, you still have to do it. That's why people like you, Desmond, we share the knowledge on this. I think it's very good to support these businesses to understand it. But I also discovered one more thing is the online world is a very big world. People need to understand that online is it's not just about putting your products online, right? And having a product online, that's the marketing of your product makes more sense than having your product online. I think this one, I find that during this MCO, many people come in without a proper strategy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And so even though that some of them start putting themselves online or start promoting themselves online, they also have one more issue, which is that issue comes into my expertise is because I feel that a lot of people, when they are offline, which means when you see them in outside world, in the networking or what, they present themselves very well. They know, they can tell you everything about what they know. They dress up well. Okay, they have good proof to show that they are credible, everything. Only one issue. They forgot that all these years, they never translate all this information into online.
So they don't put all this information on the internet, like in a sense of a profile or what?
Social media.
Right.
Okay, so what happened is when you start to promote yourself, and most people will just, anything that you buy online, people just a click away, they can find out who is the seller or who is the promoter. And if you are nowhere to be seen in terms of the congruency of you promoting it and how I do my background check on you, then you lose the opportunity. Now, this one, a lot of people don't do it because I think generally we talk about Malaysians or most countries, people are very comfortable doing offline sales, offline business. So they are good enough, they are busy enough. I think this COVID-19 crisis has forced many people that online is going to be a way of life.
So it's really a correction if you think about it. I call it a business culture correction. 3-4 years ago when I came back to Malaysia from the United States and I've been advising a lot of business owners, I'm like, you got to go online right now. Like in a time where before Lazada was huge, Shopee was huge, I was saying that Amazon was going to come and it's going to kill all these small retail businesses. No one listened to me. Everyone thought I was crazy. And now this COVID-19, this quarantine has forced business owners to adapt. Here's a funny thing, Steve. I live nearby this area where there is a huge wet market in
Right.
Taman Tun Dr. Ismail
Right, right.
TDDI. And there is this auntie that sell like vegetables and produce. She's one of those people that you will never imagine going online, but now she's going online. She has
Right.
her own Facebook group.
Right.
She's doing live video every
Right.
morning, selling it and then delivering it to your house. Like this auntie that is never thought about going online and always think that online is for the young people.
Yeah, yeah.
She's selling online right now, selling vegetables, spinach online. I thought that was absolutely crazy, but that was so important because people like that are able to adapt, right? But,
see, that's the thing. You see, like I feel that entrepreneur, I think I have to respect Malaysian entrepreneur. They are quite, they are quite hardworking. They're survivor, but only when the environment pushes them, they only go and do it. Right?
Yeah, when they have no choice.
No choice
but to adapt. Yeah, that's why it's so good to have you today, because what you do is all about really preparing yourself and preparing a business owner. Because I know you do a lot of branding advisory. I know you do a lot of helping people to carry themselves better. Which if for those of you who are listening to this, one of the most important thing is first impression, right? In business, first impression is everything. If people see that you come into a meeting, you wear like joggers and then you wear a t-shirt in a really formal business meeting, people are going to see you in a very different way compared to suit and tie. So let's talk a little bit about first impression right now online. How can we create a very good first impression online? If people see your ad, people see your video, how do we create a great impression?
I think here itself, before you go into the first impression, I think we go into the part about getting your online and offline profile to be congruent, which means as long as I talk to you in the offline world, what I see there, I must see the same profile online. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do housekeeping on this. That's number one. Number two, I mean, when you start to push yourself online, I feel that content crafting is very important, including the podcast, including Facebook Live, including Facebook posting, copywriting. All these things is very important. Unfortunately, humans has one very bad core values that is called self-centered, which means most people write based on how they feel they want to write. And that particular thing will create something called insensitive sometimes, because you probably feel it's okay, but the moment that this content is out, you will make certain group of people feel angry about that.
Can you give an example?
Example is, of course, I always think this, our government will say that the Doraemon voice things and also have to speak like Doraemon, have to dress, put on makeup to do housework, drink warm water. Now, these are all very personal, your own point of view. But unfortunately, when they say this, they didn't realize that it's going to affect a lot of people who listen it. And I think that one, we have to be mindful because we are in public now. So I've seen so many people when they start doing this, and then problems comes or maybe issue comes, you know what they always say? I don't mean it. You see, it's so easy to just put the one answer, I don't mean it. I think as us, when we need to want to be embraced human and to have more kindness in the whole society, I feel that it's very important that we need to be more sensitive whatever that we are going to shout out, so that we do not have this kind of issue. Because you must understand, reputations and branding, right? It doesn't matter you do 100 things that is good, you only need one bad things, it kind of jeopardize the whole thing already.
Right. So if you look at one example, it's Mr. Bill Gates. He's doing a lot of charity work right now. He's saving the lives and saving the world. But a lot of corporate people and a lot of people, especially like on Wall Street, they still remember him as the corporate raider, the person that destroyed companies, the person that took over companies with a lot of force. You see, what you say is absolutely true. But I want to ask you this about about being sensitive to other people and saying the sensitive thing. Why don't you think that people are more aware of what they say? Do you think that they just have a slip of tongue, or why can't they just control?
It's part of our human. It's in our human DNA. self-centered has been always a part of us. Example, I will say this, like let's say you are in the office, you are in a building and there's fire. Will you help others first or you go out first? Naturally, you'll go out first, right? Because it's part of DNA for core survival instinct. But at the same time, if you don't handle it well, you also become very egoistic and self-centered, which means most of the time, whenever you say anything, you only say it for the sake of your own benefit first before other people benefit. That's why in the saying of the society, in the business world, that we always encourage people to spread more kindness, to be more empathized before we say anything or do anything. Because what you don't want other people to do on you, you don't do it on other people. Again, when saying this, it's very easy. So I always like to share this, because our eye, we look out, we don't look in. So most of the times we know that we can say what other people are doing wrongly, but we don't know how to say ourselves that we are doing wrongly.
Yeah. So how can we fix this issue? How can we plant or seed more empathy into people so that they can actually be consistently thinking about other people's perspective as well? Is there any thought process or formula?
Yeah, that's the thing, you see, because I always feel like me and my environment, and also most people that is in the society, as if they are well established, they always say, the order to solve any crisis is always love, right? So the love part is, as long as you like make sure whatever you do, you treat the other person as a human, and you treat the person as a loved one, you will not do a lot of things unnecessary. Like yesterday, I had an interview with Amber Chia, and you know that she's a very top supermodel and #1, and she's so famous. But you know what? I learned from her what is humility, because till now, if she goes to any event, she makes sure that she say hi to every single people that she knows in the room before she go and do her own things. And that is what I call respect. Because, as you climb higher, my mentor always say, humility and gratitude goes a long way. So as long as you understand this theory, you will be very mindful and very sensitive with every actions that you take, so that you make sure that you do not want unnecessary people to feel affected just because of your word, especially if you are a role model or you're someone important in the society.
Okay. So that's great. Like, I think having the ego tuned down, especially at times like this, is really important. But times like this, when there's so much fear mongering going around with the virus, with the economy not being so good, the self-centered energy is going to increase even more. Like, people are going to think a lot about themselves, their family.
Right.
So is there any way they can be a lot more aware, or they can control? Is there any books they can read? Is there any process or experience they can go through that they can maybe force them to be a lot more aware about their actions and what they say?
I think this part of it, I feel the best way to solve this, even whether it's crisis or not crisis, is always choose the right environment to hang out with. Because no matter how good you are, how positive, how loving you are, now if you're surrounded by a group of people that is all about power struggling and things like that, you automatically will be affected by this group of people.
You're the average of your 5 friends, right?
Isn't it? So I always recommend start looking for environment that fits into what we are discussing today. I can safely say that my environment is one of the environment, because I don't care whether you are rich, you are poor, you are tun, or you are high, whatever, I don't care. But I very care about you have the core values that I wanted first. Because if that doesn't meet, we won't go into the next stage.
Right. I think that's really, really important as well. So, talking about this, I want to go back to branding, especially right now. What kind of personal branding do you think people can do? Because I believe personal branding is the key to charging more, which increases your margin and save your business. I believe that personal branding helps you make you the logical choice when you're being compared with your competitor. I also believe that personal branding gets attention for you, because we are in an attention economy. But that's my philosophy when it comes to personal branding. I would like to know your thoughts, because you've been in this field and this circle for so long. I think your thoughts are going to be a little bit more unique.
So personal branding is a holistic approach. Now, personal branding, before the crisis, when we do for our clients or even for myself, there are 3 areas that we need to be emphasized on. It's the offline, online, and also media, right? So, but because of the COVID-19 crisis, we have to do something called what is the most important to do first, which means we will get rid of the offline and also the media, because these two, we can, because it takes a longer time, so we put it aside. But the online part is where you'll be, as soon as possible, you can always see the result. It's to fine tune your online profile and also to start value add people by writing good content. Unfortunately, you see that the trend going on in terms of the online world. I always joke in my sharing. I say people suddenly become a chef, people suddenly become a fitness instructor, people suddenly become a TikTok influencer. Now, I feel that all these things, if it's not within your area of expertise, don't go and do that, because it will jeopardize your branding. You don't.
So you're focusing on one thing.
No, you're focusing things that is nothing to do with you.
Right, right.
Now, you are in social media because you want to have more leads generation or push your business. That's our focus. If you're there for fun, okay, then we don't have this conversation. But who don't want to have more leads generations, right? Right? Unless you're a housewife or this, that's different case. Now, here itself, if you want to have leads generation, jolly well, you put 80% got to do with your work content. Now, 20% you do on the lifestyle, I think that's fine. But now, almost you see all the online profile, when you go and search them, they have a zero connectivity with the real profile offline. Which means if you see them as a developer, or maybe you see them as a real estate, you go to online, they totally don't know that they're real estate. So there's a big gap there, and then I think a lot of people need to learn the importance of it. Yeah.
So you're saying that they should really strategize around what's their main income source. Let's say if they sell real estate, as you said, they should present themselves as a real estate, let's say negotiator or agent, online, offline, wherever, even when they talk to their friends. I think that's really important, because there are people that I meet online, and there are people that I connected online that I've never met before in real life. You don't know what they do because they never mention what they do. And you don't respect them that much until you find out what they do. But the first impression is already gone because they never really set the first impression.
Right.
But there are some really successful people that actually add a lot of lifestyle into their social media. Like Richard Branson is one, Tony Fernandez is one. What's your view on those? Are they too successful that they don't need to?
You're right. That is also where I'm coming around. You see, people that have already done it and make it, even they share cooking show with you. They, like Alibaba Jack Ma, sell lipstick, you still love him. But because they already make it. That's why in the online world, in the branding world, you say this: when you are branded, when you are famous, it doesn't matter what you say, it's all wisdom. But if you are nobody, whatever you say is all con. People think you are a con man. Right? So this is very important in the society, because now this is what we call trust is the biggest currency nowadays in the market. So here, online world, you can build the trust easily, but the fact is, whether do you want to make an effort to do it or not.
Okay, so what are some simple things that people can do right now to clean up their social media profile? Like I'm assuming LinkedIn is one.
Okay, LinkedIn generally are more, for me, I don't really use LinkedIn because my clientele base are mostly entrepreneurs and also SMEs, right? So I don't really go LinkedIn that much. I feel the LinkedIn are good for working class, and also if you're doing corporate stuff, I think that is fine. Malaysia generally, I think Facebook still works very well. Instagram, lately I was just like doing some discovery. You see, like when we go Instagram, right, we cannot minimize the screen. We do Instagram, we cannot minimize. I think that is already a very big problem, because like if Facebook Live, we can do 3 Facebook Live at the same time. But unfortunately, Instagram have that. So that's why the reach out may not be as interesting as it is. I've seen people that have like 5-6 million followers, but when they do the live, it's only 3 figure. So I think partially it's because the whole platform are not meant for people to do open and while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing also with Instagram, many people of this, many of these 3-4 million people, you'll be surprised, even celebrities, many of them have a lot of fake followers.
Yes, agree. So that's why I think we just measure according to, I think posting are still fine, but I was referring to the live. I feel Facebook Live are more viral than the Instagram Live.
Oh, talking about that, I want to ask your opinion because I think your perspective about this is going to be fun. Now, over the last few months, I've discovered something really interesting, especially in the Malaysia Chinese market.
Yes.
On groups, on like I think they're usually on groups. There will be like sellers. They will be turning on live on Facebook. They will sell like fake stuff. They will sell a lot of stuff, and then they'll do it like the night market style. Like, come, 3, and then your time limit. I thought the entire selling process was very interesting. Like, what's your thought on it? Like, as an entrepreneur, as someone selling something, using that as a platform, because now a lot of people want to do live to sell stuff. So I would love your perspective. Is that good for their business? Is that good for their branding?
As long as it's consistent. Now, I'm not asking people that sell a fishmonger to be dressing up like me and then start selling fish.
There is a fishmonger that dress up like you and sell.
Okay, which is fine. I think that goes into the positioning. They should try to be different, right? So it depends on the nature of the products that you're selling, right? So if you're selling things that is expensive or exclusive, is more premium, I think to take a more exclusive way of doing it, I think is better. Now, if let's say we talk about like what you say, the anti-vegetable seller. Now, the whole issue about that anti is never about fighting about whether classy or not classy. It's about there are so many vegetable sellers are trying to go online. How are you going to position yourself inside?
Right. Very important.
Very important. And that comes into the flair of talking in front of the audience. Now, I mean, we are different because we do platforms selling, we do on the stage selling, and we do online and things like that. So we have a unfair advantage compared to the rest. But most people need to upgrade their wisdom in this. Because just because you know how to sell to somebody offline, one-to-one, doesn't mean you know how to sell to people online. Because online, you're almost one-to-many. So choice of words in terms of what to say is very important. That's why which fishmonger can sell the most depends highly in terms of how they craft their content. Some people...
Do you think charisma is important too when they're doing the live video? Or do you think they should be scripted?
I think when we talk about certain people, they are inborn, which means they are born to sell. So it means like you go to supermarket, you see all those people. They go under training? Probably they not, but they just learn over the time and they have a flair for it. But most people, they do not have the flair of it. They need to be scripted until it seems like they have a flair of it.
Or what do you think about maybe like they can work with someone with more natural selling ability first, then they do the back end stuff, they have someone handle the front end? Would that be easier for them as a business owner who are positioning now they're going online?
I think most people who want to do that, but let me tell you, human is like that, right? So who you want to push? Unless you're pushing your own family members. Now, if you push your staff, so the staff become very good, the staff help you to get a lot of sales. Now, there's only two possibilities. The staff will go and start on his own because why do I need you? Number two is the staff will get pushed by other competitor. Now, who will be suffering? Now, you again will be suffering. Now, it really depends on whether you look at this as an issue or not. Because easy to say, we always like to leverage on other people. But certain things, I don't think that we can leverage on other people. Why? Because it's too high risk, high cost. Because as an entrepreneur, you do not depend on anybody 100%. Now, for me myself, as long as my staff can do it, I can do it. As long as I can. So, but what I can do, my staff may not be able to do. So I always practice this because the last thing I don't want to be overly dependent on one individual for my business.
Well, now you open up a can of worm. Now I want to ask you this very important question because what I like to do is that even though a lot of people might know me as a trainer, as a speaker, as someone that sells courses and as those kind of things. But one of the things that I actually do is I actually buy and sell companies. I invest in a lot of companies, and one of the things that I think a lot and I think very often is, should I brand the company name or should I brand the face of the business? For a lot of us speakers, we usually brand our name, but what about like an ordinary company? Let's say a beauty salon, let's say a hair salon. Should we aim for?
Are we talking about? Are we talking about your company or talking about other company?
Just generic, any company out there, like normal Main Street company.
Correct. Maybe I talk about you first because your name has been used in this environment. So it's quite tricky for you to use in that environment. But you can do a spin-off, which is you are doing now. There's no issue, right?
Right.
So for people who, especially this crisis, I always ask people to use their name first because company branding take longer time to have emotionally attached. But personal is it's whether I like you or not. If I like you, then I will support you. So it's quite fast in doing the trust part. But company, it takes a long time. You know, how many companies can be like Apple? How many companies can be like, there's a lot of publicity, a lot of branding, and you do not have time at this moment of time to be doing it. So just like my business partner, Tati Winnie, you know, like her name is as important as a caliber, which is a branded name. So both is important. Now, my suggestion all these years is get yourself to be frontal the company first until you get so busy, then you move to the back and let your company be the front. So you must use your name until it becomes full, then before you take a back step.
Right. So you basically use your face and your name to open the door. And once the doors are wide open, that's when you actually focus more on building the branding value on your company side. Right. Okay. Especially right now, I think it's really important too. I think, as you said, personality is very important because people, whether they buy from you or not, they want to know if they like you or not. Right. And they judge you purely through the internet now because we can't go out. So they're gonna watch this content, whether they're gonna either they're gonna like Steve or don't like Steve. Either they're gonna like Desmond or they don't like Desmond. They're gonna make the decision within 3 seconds. And I think it's really, really important as well. So, you know, what are other tips that you are actually giving out to, you know, business owners during crisis like this? What do you think they can do right now that can, you know, positively impact themselves?
I think we about this online branding. I think one more thing is please have a focus. You know, Malaysian entrepreneurs are very amazing one. They can have like 10 over businesses, and it's not anything that make money they have to do. But this is also a very big problem because why? Because this is what we call too many branding. So I think this is also someone needs to be very mindful of. You only need to be good in one thing. But you spin off is okay. But you cannot start telling me, okay, like today I meet you, hey Desmond, I'm actually a developer, I'm also a insurer, I'm so this, I'm also Of course I can do all that, but will you trust me? You won't, because generally I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm not an expert in anything, right? So number 2 is like this, content, we are all not born to be a copywriter, right? So easy to say that you need to craft content, but most people, when they craft content, they get so boring because they will do one style only. And after a while, you do one style, you will face one thing called your platform get very, your platform get dry up because they get bored reading the same old thing. So that's the reason why, like in my platforms, in my environment, the last few weeks, me and my team, we came out something called the online personal branding calendar, which means help you to angle different perspectives to talk about your branding. So then it will become more variety. I think these are the things that people need to understand. As long as you're promoting yourself online or you're selling something online, people are all will do background check on you with just a click away. If I like what I see is I don't like it, that's it. Right? But what I see, if I like it, that's where the chances of the sales being to go through is high. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're talking about specialization or focusing on one impression that you want people to have. Because I know too many people, especially the self-employed, I think business owners don't really get into this issue. I think this is more common with self-employed, like those real estate agents. You know what? I've got a friend, you know, one day this guy was selling water machine, and then tomorrow he's selling real estate. And then he's also telling me that on the part, he also do wheel riding and also insurance. He's everywhere. So like for me, like as you say, you know, there's just no trust. Like he's not the go-to guy. Like I feel like if I want to buy insurance, I'll go to my go-to insurance guy who only handles insurance. It's like if you have a really big illness or a really life-threatening illness, you don't go to a general doctor, you go to a specialist right away, right? So I think that's really important, and most people don't think about it, right? For self-employed then, and versus business owner, is the branding effort they put in different? would you advise them differently if you get these two
No,
different
actually,
clients?
in fact, because the online, actually, you see now, because the way of life is changed already.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID-19 crisis, right, almost everything is reset. Now, if you know how to restrategize yourself well, you can easily, right, capture the market more than all the big companies, because it's almost like a reset button has been triggered. Now, you brought up very good points about people that is, I would say, they are jack of all trades, means they do a lot of things. You know, most people don't realize it. Now, let me tell you why people don't realize it. I always say this in my class. I say, you like to sell people things, but you don't like people to sell you things. Don't you think so? This is a human nature, human character, sir. You like people to love you, but you are so stingy with your love to other people.
So it goes back to the self-centered again from the start of the conversation.
Of course. You see, like your friend that say, start sharing this with you. Why don't you start sharing the same thing to him? You ask him whether he like it or not. He won't like it. He will tell you he don't like it. But why is he doing it? Because he's not mindful of looking into how he see himself. Like most people do that. That's why even until a small little things like how you reply your WhatsApp messages, right? So here itself, you can see how whether this person is self-centered or not. Correct. Now, how you reply comments and all these things. I think we have to be mindful. The reason why you have followers, you have people liking you is because the nature of your personality. Just like Amber Chia itself. No, frankly speaking, I always say this: if people make an effort to write a comment into your Facebook posting, that is an effort. Now, for you, just put an effort to reply them. I don't think that is very hard to take, hard to do. That's why, like for me, even though like every time my birthday I have like few thousand messages, I reply every single one of them personally. Why? Because I think that this is a respect. Now, you want your followers to follow you and make an effort to do it, you have to put the effort back. I think the last thing I think is people will say, oh, how I know I'm busy? How I know I'm this? Now, you always say that yesterday, Amber and me, we have the same thought. It's like that. Now, you treat people nice, automatically you will be paid. People will be nice to you in abundance.
I like what you just said. You know, one of the clients that I just got, he's in a daycare business, like child daycare business, and they cannot operate their business right now because of the lockdown and the quarantine. And they are afraid that after the MCO, after the lockdown, their business has to be closed. They asked me for an advice. I say, you know what, the best thing you can do right now is to send thank you letters, thank you message, personal from you, from the top of the management. Every one of you, write, if handwritten, even better, or make a personal video, even better. Show your gratitude to the clients that have been with you for years. And the clients were like, you know what, after this, we're going to stay with you. Don't worry.
Now, these are the things also, because in my area of expertise, I have two parts. One is personal branding. And another part that is where I started out to do is a relationship building. You see, because naturally, a lot of people, right, don't realize I've been saying this topic for so many years. Now, people don't realize they are building transactional relationship. What is transactional relationship? I give you product, you give me money. Right? So there's no relationship at all. Now, you won't realize there's a problem until there's a crisis, which is now. And you reflect back, and all the support, all the network, all the database you have, you think they are friends. No, they are transaction. The last thing is they will care for you. But because whose fault is also your own fault. Simple reason why. Do you build relationship during good times? No. Your good times, you go and hang out, you go and holiday, you go and do it. You don't even want to yum cha. You don't even want to do. But when only you start to be panicked, like your this daycare, suddenly buy flowers, suddenly buy this. Well, God do better than never do. But certain things, building relationship, you always do it during the good times. Because
it's perpetual, you just keep going at it. I mean, you literally, some companies that literally have a department, their job is just to do this.
That's very true. Like for me, I only have 24 hours a day. My network, I know who will be by my side to keep it good times or bad times. I know. So that's how I build my relationship, and that's how I do it. I mean, I teach people how to do it, but most people don't realize it. That's why, like Desmond, now after the crisis, you have many of your friends start to tell you, okay, you know your true friends only when shit happens.
Right.
I think that statement is very unfair, because you only go to your friends when shit happens. Don't you think so?
Yeah, that's what most people do.
Right. And then the thing is, how can you get me to help you when 3 years, for the past 5 years, we never even have a messages to me?
Right.
Right? So I don't help you is because I'm not a good person. Now turn the whole ball around. Will you be doing that or not? You won't. So I think don't say things so easily, and reflect a little bit whether this is your own doing or not.
I think that's fantastic, Steve. It's been such a pleasure having you here. I've learned so much from you. I was expecting a lot of business knowledge, but I really get a lot there in terms of how to be a good business owner and a business operator. Not about the tips and tactics, but really about looking inwards and fixing the inside so that the outside gets fixed because of that. So I really like that.
You know, the Chinese saying is like, I'm not sure. I'll just share. You know, my method is say, 識做人先識做生意. You know, learn how to be a person first before you learn how to do business, which is
Correct.
a very fundamental of Chinese way of doing business.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you look at the core people in a business, they are people. And if all the people are rotten and all the people are negative, the business is going to reflect the same. So once they are positive, everything just becomes amazingly positive. Now, Steve, you know, my audience might want to learn a little bit about, you know, what you teach, which is relationship building, which is about branding. How can they find out more? Do you have like a channel that they can go on or check you out?
Okay, so now I think the priority main focus is the online personal branding, which I have my usual webinar every Thursday. So I think I can give you the link in a short while so that we can actually share. And that is where I share a lot more about how to strategize the online personal branding. Because I feel that in the online world, you need to have different kind of wisdom. You have to treat it not just a platform to have a presence. You need to learn all the different tricks from your trick and from my trick. You combine, that will be the best trick.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Steve, for being here today. Thank you for sharing so much generous information. It's a pleasure
Thanks for
having you.
having
Thank
me.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see you. Bye.